Vonda Pelto worked for 3 years in one of the toughest jobs imaginable.
My office was a converted cell. Every night I would have nightmares, and I would wake up in a cold sweat and think, oh, I've got to go back again.
Back to the Los Angeles Men's Central Jail.
I was just overcome with the smell and the noise. Guys are walking down the cement floors with chains dragging. When they slammed that door, I just jumped.
Dr. Pelto is a clinical psychologist, hired fresh out of college to counsel some of the country's most infamous serial killers after one of them committed suicide in his small cell.
I saw the freeway killers, the hillside stranglers, the trash bag murders, the Sunset Killers, and John Holmes, the porn star.
The most notorious, brutal and ruthless murderers of the 70s and 80s, freeway killer Uильямом Бониным, Sunset Strip slayer Douglas Clark, and the hillside strangler Kenneth Bianchi shared their deepest, darkest secrets with Dr. Pelto. The hillside strangler is serving a life sentence in Washington state for raping and murdering 10 women and girls. For many years, Kenneth Bianchi sent letters begging Dr. Pelto to come back and meet with him again.
Dated November 11, 1982. Dear Dr. Pelto, I am anxious, nervous, and under a tremendous amount of stress. I greatly need to speak with you. Take care, sincerely, Ken.
Bianchi and the others told her details of their crimes, speaking matter-of-factly. She specifically remembers her dealings with the freeway killers who murdered dozens of boys and young men in the 70s and early 80s. In this chilling audio tape recording of her interview with Gregori Майли, one of the freeway killers, he reveals how he and Uильямом Бониным started their killing spree.
Everyone would go out and pick somebody up and have sex with. He says, hey, you ever kill anybody? And I said, no, I never had. I'm high, you know. And so we went up to Hollywood, driving down the street and saw some kid. And he was like about 13, 14 years old. Having a party, having a good old time. And then he started struggling, and that's when Bонin threw me down on his stomach and started tying him up.
Майли and Bonin were just two of the violent serial killers that terrorized Southern California more than 2 decades ago. Dr. Pelto says she had to learn to compartmentalize her feelings about what they'd done in order to face them every day at work.
These men were able to kill without any kind of empathy, without any kind of remorse. They were remorseful they got caught.
And their depravity was even more disturbing the more she got to know them.
Bill Bonin told me the day he was given the death penalty, he laughed and said, I'll outlive that judge, you know, no big deal. And so I said, Bill, what did it feel like to kill a boy? When the boy was pleading and crying, did you think about that or his family and how his family was going to miss him? And Bill said, no, I didn't feel anything.
Dr. Pelto says Uильямом Бониным was the most ruthless of the freeway killers, and his cohort told her he would strangle his victims and simply throw them away when he was done.
Bonin said, take off my shirt, place it around his neck, and Bonin started twisting. And then we opened up the side door, he grabbed the feet, and I grabbed the hands, and we just dumped him on his stomach, and we split.
David McVicker knows what it feels like to be at the mercy of a brutal serial killer and rapist. He survived an attack by Uильямом Бониным when he was just 14 years old.
He offered me a ride. I jumped in the car and off we went. About 4 or 5 minutes later, he said something about, have I ever had sex with a guy or something like that. And I immediately got really scared, and so I opened up the door and jumped out, and he had a gun pointed at me.
Bonin drove him to an isolated area, beat him and raped him.
He had my t-shirt around my neck with a crowbar through the sleeves, and he was twisting it, trying to strangle me.
But something David said that horrible day actually saved his life.
With my last breath, I managed to squeak out, "God help." And he just stopped, dead in his tracks. And then he ended up driving me home and letting me go.
David went to the police and was able to identify his attacker. Police arrested Bonin and David testified at his trial. Jurors convicted Bonin and David thought his assailant was behind bars for good. But that wasn't the end of his reign of terror.
I was told that he got 15 to life. I was shocked when I found out that he got out of jail.
Just 3 years later, Bonin was paroled for the second time after being convicted of rape and assault charges. He went on to kill 14 others.
I kept reading about the stories about these kids coming up dead. And every time I would read it, I would just feel this pit in my stomach, like I've been there, I felt that, I know what that's like. One day I finally called the sheriff's department and told them about Bonin and what happened to me. And 2 weeks later, they arrested him. And he was out doing the murders.
David is the only known victim to survive Bonin's deadly rampage. He's now determined to make sure Bonin and the other freeway killers are never released. It takes working with other victims to repeatedly testify at parole and probation hearings. There, he met Dr. Pelto, and now they share a common bond of friendship and fear.
When you close your eyes still, David, it's still.
Oh yeah, it's always there. It never goes away, really. A lot of times at night, I end up running in my sleep.
A fear they say they'll have as long as these killers are still alive.
There's so many people that are dead because of them. Their families and hundreds of people that are affected by this. They don't ever deserve to walk. They don't ever deserve to breathe. They should be dead. They should have been executed a long time ago.
Uильям Bonin was eventually executed in 1996 after being convicted of killing 21 young boys and men. David attended his execution.
It was just like evil spirits leaving my body. It was just like nothing but release.
Dr. Pelto's looking for some kind of closure too. She's now written a book about her experiences, and she's hoping to finally free herself of the demons and killers that still haunt her to this day.
I've seen the dark side, and I really don't wish anybody else to see the dark side. It doesn't leave you.